Welcome to my podcast, Today's Dream, Tomorrow's Reality. My name is Vicki Poole. I'm a master transformational coach and hypnotist specializing in habit change. This podcast is sponsored by the Enlightened Peach, and it's all about embracing our mosaic life. And some of you may ask, what is a mosaic life anyway? Well, it is recognizing that all the pieces of our life, the good, the bad, the indifferent, have all come together to make us who we are. Change any one thing, and we are different. With that in mind, I invite you to embrace your perceived imperfections and celebrate who you are. This podcast is unedited and raw, just like life. And I am your host. And I have a special guest with me today that I'll introduce in just a moment. But before I do, I would love for you to leave a comment and remember to like, subscribe, and share. So now let's get started. So this gentleman here is Alpesh Patel, and he is a physical therapist. And I just can't wait to dive in to hear all about how he got into physical therapy, all the things. But before we get into that, if you want to just give a little quick intro of yourself for all the people that are watching or listening.
Sure. Hi, Vicky. Thanks for inviting me on this podcast. And of course, you've been amazing as usual. But yeah, so my name is Alpesh Patel, and I'm a physical therapist almost 15 years at this time. Yeah, a lot of people comment, why I look young if I have 15 years, and they think I'm lying. Actually, I'm not lying because I've been working since 2009, in fact. So yeah, that's me. I'm been working almost 6 days a week, kind of working, treating patient on hand. And of course, I'm being because all this life, I saw that the patient was struggling, and just the coming to the clinic was not enough. So I started a little bit diving into the home care where I go to patient's house, and I also understood the kind of a little bit struggle what they're going through in the house. They cannot leave the house and all the stuff. So uh, then I started thinking about like how can I make my patient's life easier than it is already, and I want to make sure that I provide them all the resources, all the tools they need. And then recently I started my brand, which is a Theravio, and it's all about helping people to live pain free, and that's our motto. And actually, our goal is, my goal personally is to help at least 100 million people before I die. So that's the goal.
Ooh.
So I took it from somewhere, so I don't know where from, but I'm like, I like that line. I said, you know what, this is this because always you have that kind of a goal to help people. But now, because I put the number out there, that kind of a push me and not give up. And I'm like, okay, I need to do it, and I'm
And to
going to
take
do it.
damn good care of yourself because you're going to be living a long time.
Okay, yes, that's a
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
That's true. Yes, I have to stay fit, and I have to
Yes,
take care of myself so I can take everybody. Yeah,
that's right.
so
That's
that's
right.
that's that's a little bit intro about me. Unless you have a specific question, but yeah, that's me.
Okay, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Um,
Yes.
so, what did you want to be when you were growing up?
Okay, that's a long story. The childhood I have it. I don't think so. We even care about what we want to be, because all we care about getting a food little bit. One meal a day. When you get it, you're lucky. I mean, my dad was. We are not the poor we consider in India, but I was like a middle class family where we kind of only. My dad used to make only what we can, kind of a spend, and whatever. There's no saving, nothing like that. And there are days where he didn't have money and all this stuff. So I've seen all kind of days. So yeah, that time I didn't even think about anything. All I need to do is just make money and help my family. That was my first goal. So
Okay,
yeah,
so you were in survival mode, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yes. So does that mean that as you were growing up, you were getting jobs and things to help support the family even when you were really young?
So not really, to be honest. So yes, like I
Mhm.
said, I was from the middle class family, and I think it was the 12th grade. I decided to give up on education. I'm like, okay, now it's time for me to kind of start making money and support my family. But actually, my maternal uncle, so my mom's brother at that time, he wanted to be a doctor, and he could not be because my grandfather died when he was young, and he and my mom had all the family responsibility before she got married. in short, he wanted one of the family member to be a doctor, and I was the oldest siblings among the cousin that side. So he came to me and it's like, I heard about that you giving up and you kind of just get out of it and want to start making money. And I say, yeah. And he said, look at your dad, look at other people around you, and look how much money they're making and look at how live they are. So I said, do you want this life? I said, no, I don't want that life. I really want to do something better. And he said, you know what? I will pay for college. I'll pay for everything you want. I want you to go to physical therapy. And that's actually the first time I heard the word physical therapy. I'm like,
Wow.
I'm like, what is this thing? He said, you don't worry about it. You just prove that you can do it. And I'm ready to pay for education. And actually, to be honest, he paid all the education, all my living expense, everything. And
Wow.
that helped me to kind of be grounded and surrounded by good people and all
Yeah.
this stuff. But yeah, he paid for everything, and he's like, I want you to go learn whatever it is, give your best you can, and I want you to not just change your life, but all the people around you. I want you to change their life as well. And there you go. So I end up doing a physical therapy, and yes, immediately I started making money, of course, and
Yeah. What
helping
a
family.
guardian angel to have,
Oh
right?
yeah, oh he's a god to me. I always say
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's amazing. I love that. We all wish we had one of those.
Oh yeah, I think I consider myself, and usually I said I'm the most luckiest unlucky person. So, the reason I say luckiest unlucky because I never got easy in my life. Nothing came easy. But thank God, somehow God is there and he always get me something. So I never
Yeah.
stopped. I never stopped. So always somebody like my uncle, or I have friends, I have a family member who always come and rescue me when I'm in trouble. But yeah, I always been in trouble.
I love it. I love it. So, where did you go to college?
So I did my bachelor from India, and then of course same goal after to continue that story. Yeah, I studied in one of the south part of India because is that at that time I had a kind of the only time we were able to get admission was like kind of the south part of India, and I went there, did my bachelor. I started working like basic job around to support my family. Again, my uncle came, same guy, and he said, you know what? I want you to not stop here, and I want you to go and do higher education. And I'm like, yeah, but I need to make money because you already paid me. I have to pay you back, and my family I want to support. And he said, no, I'm going to spend again money for you because I trust you and I want to invest in you and I want you to have a better life. I want you to go higher education. And then he again told me about the USA, and there were a couple of countries like Australia and USA. There were the two choice I had, and he's like, nope, are you going to go USA? And again, that was his dream to come to US or
Oh,
any other
wow.
country. And again, because of the family education, limited, no, I mean, family situation, limited education, he could not go anywhere. So actually, he put his dream on me, and I took it as a challenge. And I'm like, you know what? If he couldn't do it, and if his dream is there, he helped me all this time. So I can do at least this much for him. And so he actually took loan again for me, so he took the bank loan and sent me here, gave me money to my first year education, and I went to actually Seton Hall University in New Jersey where I did my postgraduate degree. Yes, so I have a
Hmm.
master in physical therapy. So that's
Wow.
where you're at. Yeah,
Yeah, nice. So, what's the thing that you love the most about being a physical therapist?
to help people change their life and see those smile when they're getting
Yeah.
better. So
So do
like
you have an example of someone that like if you were to say, I'm going to give you an example of the most amazing story that I've
yeah.
encountered, what would that be?
So I have this patient. I mean, not anymore. He is discharged, but it was like 7 years ago. I actually saw him, and he was a wheelchair bound, paralysis already waist down, and he came to our clinic, and we started talking evaluation and all this stuff. And he told me it was 22 years he did not get up from the chair.
Oh, wow.
And we started like, I'm like, okay, we can try again because it's a paralysis, it's hard to get anything and all this stuff. But then I wanted to just get the feeling. He says it's been a while because all he does is a transfer using the board. I mean, he was very strong guy, upper hand and everything. So
Hmm.
he was very good build up and he had the motivation and all this stuff. So we started working. It took us like few months. And then we realized that there is a brace he can, because usually I made him stand for a few minutes and all this stuff, but he wanted to stand by himself, and that was his goal. So we found a brace which he could use it, and he showed us few things, but was really really expensive, and neither he or I could not afford to pay him that much, kind of as a gift or help him out. So what we did is we kind of choose the different tactics instead of getting one whole brace waist down, which is supposed to be needed. We kind of divided in the break-in because again it was a little bit loophole we found it, and it was like, okay, you know what? If you get just the knee brace, just the ankle brace, and just the hip brace, like a three separate piece of component, insurance would pay for it. So we did that. We ordered all these three components through the insurance, and we used that. And it took us a while, again, another month, to train him how to stand and everything. Before he got discharged, he could stand 1 hour by himself using
Oh,
those braces, holding that parallel bar. Of course, because of the brace, but we had to build up his strength, we build up on the balance and all this stuff. But actually, first time when he stood up by himself, he cried a lot.
yeah.
And he said, like, oh, this is my, he said, I don't care, I can walk, I don't care, I can do. But just of feeling the standing by himself, looking himself in the mirror, that was the best feeling it was. And that actually was one of the best moment of my life. I still see that kind of a dream come true moment, that yes, he was able to stand by himself.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Um, recently I had my sister had a lot of vertigo and everything, so she went to
Okay.
see a physical therapist.
Hmm.
Um, and so interestingly enough, this physical therapist was a specialized in that kind of thing, the
Yes.
vertigo and everything.
Yep.
And he was able to assess and treat her and give her some exercises that she had been battling it for months, for
Yep.
months. And this physical therapist made a difference out of one session. I
That's
mean,
nice.
it was like, oh my gosh, because she was beginning to think she was going to lose her ability to drive. She was
Yeah.
losing her ability to work. There was so many things, right? So to me, I mean, it's phenomenal when you see something like that happen because the term physical therapist does not encompass what you do.
Yes.
That's too simplistic because
Yeah.
it's life changing. Like my sister, just though it was vertigo, where she got dizzy and everything, but the with the assessment that he was able to do for her, it's life changing.
Yeah.
And and like that gentleman you're talking about, it's like a dream come true. And
Yes.
so it's amazing when somebody is skilled at something like that, that something that sounds so innocent and simple, physical therapist, that it's like, oh my gosh, it's so much bigger than that. So I
Yeah.
see why you want to reach the amount of people that you do,
Yeah.
because so many people don't even have a clue that there's, just by seeing a physical therapist that knows what they're doing, because there are some that don't, um,
Yeah, that's true.
that, yeah, yeah, that, they can have a fuller life. They can get rid of the pain. They can get rid of all the things that are holding them back in life. And so I just can't talk enough about what a physical therapist does.
Thank
I
you.
mean,
Thank you. Yeah.
yeah, and I'll just share, back to the thing with my sister and the vertigo. She has a friend that has vertigo, had gone to see a physical therapist. They did this one little exercise and they said, going home. And she can't drive, she can't do anything. So my sister, because they don't live close enough together for her to go to the same person,
Location. Yeah.
she's telling them, these are some of the exercises that he said for me to do. Try those and see if it makes a difference. And then maybe it's worth it to come and see this guy.
Yeah.
So I mean, no brainer, right?
And this is exactly the reason I had to think about what else I could do to kind of reach to bigger audience and help them out. Because if you look at online, I mean, now we are on this high technology world, high information world.
Mm-hmm.
Every ABC person coming on the online, and they just start talking about medical. They start talking about what is good, what is not good, but they don't have medical background. They don't
Yeah.
they don't have experience of 15 years of experience. So they never seen the patient. Or even there are people who talking about treating patient, but then last time they practiced like 10 years ago, the last
Yeah.
patient they saw. So, that sounds like, I mean, I don't want to sound like a rude or anything, but that's not how it's supposed to be. It's like you have to listen to the people who have in the medical field. And now again, it's not necessarily I'm at the best at everything. Like you said, there's so many subtype of physical therapy. So I might not be good at the vestibular rehabilitation like the other person is, but I'm good at other things, right? So to finding the right combination or finding the right person is very, very important. And that's the whole idea about starting Theravio is that I want to provide free education. I would never charge, and I still feel like that's why I create a Facebook group. I created a online. I wrote a book recently. I gave away free. I'm like, okay, this is free for you. I don't want to make any money on it. And even the kids, to be honest, I'm losing money at this point. Even somebody, I'm like, "Look, you work so hard." I said, okay, my aim to help 100 million people. I have a job. I make my money. So the idea of helping people and creating awareness about the proper education and proper, like I tell you, Vicky, I went to online, like one of the patient I was treating, and I went online to see what products she may need in the house, and that's all the how idea came out. But all these garbage products available out there, I touched those products are very cheap material, not so good, like kind of not helpful. They just put it like just for the number's sake. Oh, I'm giving you a 20, 30 item in a pack, or I give you 10 items. But if you look at those 10 items, only two are usable. Look at the patient's
Mm,
condition. Like say for example, you and your friend, like you talked about your sister and her friend, right? Not both have this, I mean, even the same diagnosis, but both have a similar structure. So something will work with her, something would work with other person, right? Same thing with exercises. Your pain is different than other person's pain, right? If
mm-hmm.
I give you like high resistance item, you won't be able to do it, but then somebody else who's a less pain, they'll be able to do it, right? So all this stuff, I'm like, what is going on this? And I'm like, okay, this is what I'll do. Again, I can change the world, I can change everybody. I do the best I can, try my best to provide the education, try my best to answer all this question, and try my best to provide the tools they need. And I mean, that's all I can do for now, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, it sounds amazing too that to do all of that. I do have a quick question for you.
Sure.
And I'm not calling you out on anything because we're
Yes.
recording this, right?
No, you can.
But my thoughts when you were talking about your book and you didn't want to take any money for it, I understand that to a certain extent, but the money that comes in from that book, you could actually sell it for a very small amount and donate that money to help some of the people that can't afford to get some of the supplies.
So I thank you for asking that question. And I had a couple of people ask me, like, don't give away for free because you lose the value. Because a lot of people, when they get a free book or free material, everything, they lose it, right? They lose interest in general. So I thought about it, and I was like, okay, but then it take me away from my original goal, which is helping people. And then I want to, like, okay, like I said, I want to provide the free education or free question, because a lot of time, yes, you're right. I should have sell that book and donate it, but I'm going with the kit. So the kit I'm selling, right?
Okay, I
Technically,
gotcha.
and that kit will
What's in
get,
the
and I'm
kit?
donating. So right now, again, to kind of narrow down it, I need to choose the topic, because I can't say I have a physical therapy brand, I'll help everything. Of course, I can do a lot of, like in clinic, I see patients for all kind of ages, all kind of problem. I had to narrow down, and I started with the hand therapy. So it's about the hand physical therapy, because that's where a lot of the women, a lot of, like home in the I see a lot of home patients, they have a lot of hand issues when they are in 50s and 60s. A lot of people have surgeries, and again, they're in the house because they cannot lift anything. And I'm like, okay, let me come out with that. So what I did is I kind of create a plan, like an exercise plan of 30 days, which is part of my book. But then also I'm giving the tools, whatever you need. You need an ice pack or heat pack,
Okay.
wraps you need the exercise material, you need exercise tools. I have everything in one kit. So I create like a kit which has everything you need for your hand rehabilitation or hand therapy. Yes.
Oh, cool, cool.
Yeah.
So how much do those kits run?
To be honest, I mean, I know we planned this like a long ago, but
Yeah.
actually today I launched my product. Today is my first day of
You
launching product.
did.
Yes,
Oh,
yeah,
fantastic. Did
yeah,
you ever talk to the
yeah.
hairstylist?
I tried to contact them, but then
Okay.
again, because I got so busy with other stuff, I didn't get any reply. Again, we are not. I look like young, but I'm not good at technology. And I try to contact them, try to send them a friend request on the Facebook, but somehow Facebook is blocking me, saying that because you're not connected anyhow,
Um,
I cannot connect with them, and there's no other way. I mean, I'm
yeah.
sending them a message, but they're not reading it. So I'm like, okay. And then anyway, because I have a big launch coming, the product coming, I had to create, like, websites had to be ready. The emails needs to be go out. So a lot of other technical part I needed to be taken care. So that's why I could not put so much. But now the product is launched, my part is done. I'm still answering questions. A lot of people have it, kind of about the kit, about the book, in journal therapy. So I'm so busy with that along with my job. So I'm sorry. I know you told me, and I should have done that
That's
more
okay.
hard.
That's okay. No worries.
But
And just
that was a great tip. Yes.
and just for those that are listening or watching, when we had talked before, I was saying I'm a hairstylist, and so the carpal tunnel and the different things that you deal with, arthritis and all of that stuff that really is prevalent in hairstylists, that it would be a really good target audience for him to be able to help them. So it'll come when the time's right, right?
Yes.
And so now that you've got your product launched already, correct?
Yes.
So it's launched. So really, in some ways, maybe it's easier to reach out when you've got something to launch. So after we finish recording, we'll talk for just a minute, okay?
Okay. No, thank you. Thank you, Vicky. Yeah.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
because I'm really intrigued with it. Because one of the things I keep referring to my sister, but my sister is a hairstylist as well, and she's been doing hair for a lot longer than I have. And so she had some arthritis in her thumb and on her wrist. And I guess, I don't know if it was the doctor or the physical therapist, somebody gave her this brace for her hand.
Yeah.
And the brace restricted her movement so much that when she saw a different doctor or physical therapist, I think it was the doctor, he said that the worst thing she could have done was wear that particular brace. It
For longer
was,
period of time. Yeah.
yeah, it was causing it to be worse. And it's like,
Mm.
the thing is that as people that are not part of the medical profession, we usually rely on that person to be able to tell us what to do. So it's very disheartening sometimes when you do something and then somebody comes and says, well, that was the worst thing you could have done.
Yeah.
And, and there you are. But, so I think one of the things that it's really important for me sitting here is to just say to everybody that make sure that whoever you're listening to or whoever you're getting advice from, that they are skilled at that particular thing, because a general physician might think that's the right thing to put on there, but someone who deals with that all the time knows, no, don't do it.
Right.
And so it's, not just taking the first thing that somebody says and maybe, checking it out
I
a little bit more. What do you have to say about that?
No, and you're right, 100%. And that's why I tell my old patient, ask questions. You have a privilege, you have rights to ask as many questions. Don't be afraid. Go to doctor, ask as many questions you have. Doctor's there to help you out. If and to be honest, as a physical therapy, like you said, the person was doing evaluation for your sister, right? The only reason he could help because your sister answer all her questions, answer all her or ask the questions about her problem, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
the only way I can help people when they ask, right? So
Right.
even I ask in general
Yeah. Don't keep
population
secrets
also.
from your
Yeah, no,
doctor, your physical
nothing.
therapist.
Right. If your hand
Yeah.
hurts, if it hurts in the morning, tell your doctor hurts in the morning. Do not say, "Oh, my hand hurts." Just say specific. Okay, it hurts in the morning, because to be honest, if it hurts in the morning, it hurts in the afternoon, all the activity that change the whole diagnosis scenario. It also
Okay.
depends on when you hurt. So many things. I mean, as a patient, as a person, probably general population is a very minor thing. Oh, it hurts. Like they just talk like a general language, but they miss out all the specific kind of information. So I always tell everybody, when you go to doctor, any professional, like your hairstylist, for example,
Mm-hmm.
if somebody come to you, they cannot just say, "Oh, make me look good." Okay, but
Right.
you
Right.
want to cut from here. How about this style and that? So there's a communication patient going on, right?
Yeah.
And similarly, if you're not getting better, ask questions again, doctor, why I'm not getting better? What else I can do? Should I see another doctor? Should I see a specialist? What else I can do? Right? Same thing with the therapist. I have a patient. In fact, today I saw the patient. I'm seeing like 2 sessions already, and said zero changes. I had to change all the treatment session for that. I'm like, okay, let's try something different. I want to make sure you feel better, right? So, but
Hmm.
the reason I could change things because the person was able to communicate with me. If not, I would have continued the same thing, and it will end up in the same results, which is no
Yeah.
improvement, right? So
Right.
that's the thing. So that answers probably the queries you're asking about, like that you go to general physician, not getting better or giving a brace, and if you're not comfortable, don't wait till next appointment, which is the next month. You should
Right.
do it in 2 days. You should do it in max 1 week. Go and talk to them. Say, hey, this is the problem. Call them. Doctors available there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great advice. Great advice. Because, I will admit that there have been times that I really didn't want to talk to my doctor about certain things. And a lot of times it was because when I did try, they weren't very receptive, or they would act like, well, I'm the expert here, you're not.
Right.
So why are you questioning me, kind of stuff, Some of those people with like the God complex, I guess, because they certainly did not want to be questioned. Um, and so then when that happens, it's like you start pushing back, a little bit and saying, well, I'm not supposed to talk about that. But I got over that.
Then let me ask you, Vicky, what you
Uh,
do after that? Let's say you having that kind of a little bit like kind of I don't want to ask any questions. I don't want to do. So what would you do in that scenario? Like, would you still push yourself, or you like, oh no, forget it. Let me find somebody else. What would you do?
I think it just depends. Like sometimes it would be I would just endure and try to figure it out. And then other times it was, I'm just going to find a different doctor, one that I know listens to me. And I will say, when I was a lot younger, I erred on the side of I'll just endure. And
Right.
then as I got a little bit older, it was like, well, that's bullshit.
uh,
I'm paying them to do this, so they need to be at least listening to my questions and making me understand a little bit better. So I would go and get a different doctor.
I usually so I train a lot of students as well, like because we have a lot of students coming, we train them to be a therapist, but more rather than I don't teach them how to be therapists, I teach them how to be a clinician. That's the
Hmm.
difference. I can
What's the
teach you tech.
difference?
So the clinician is about, I mean, it's my definition. I don't know this, but
That's
I
all I'm
tell
caring
them,
about is yours.
okay, perfect. So just a therapist is like the therapy part is not hard. I can teach you actually what to do, like how to use
Hmm.
all machine, how to massage. These are techniques, right? How to do manual therapy. You can learn and you can perform it. What makes them a clinicians is about the clinical diagnosis, so they know when and what to use and what time to use. Like there are thousands exercises, the clinician knows which exercise. Personal trainer also knows which exercise, all exercise, but they are not the physical therapist. The reason for that, right? Personal trainer only do exercise to build up, but if you go with the pain, they're not able to help you with that, right?
Yeah,
Because they
yeah.
will still tell you go to doctor. Otherwise, it's the same exercise. So what the therapist makes a clinician is about they know which technique, and they also know when to use those techniques, right? So when I treat the students, I also tell them one thing, that it's like how we have a relationship, we have a friends relationship, we have a marriage relationship, right? The patient and doctors are like a relationship.
Hmm.
If the patient don't trust the doctor, they would not able to provide all the service. And if
Right.
the patient don't trust the doctor, they won't be able to open up, like you were talking about, like, oh, they will change the doctor and they will never, and they will, after that, they will still have a doubt on the doctor ability all the time.
Hmm.
So that relationship will never work, right? Because
Hmm.
think about it, like, patient not happy because they have a doubt the doctor is doing or not, and wasting time and all this stuff. Doctor, because they're afraid, oh, this patient is asking too many questions, or patient is not doing what I want it, and what if they're gonna sue me and all the, doctor one always a problem is they're gonna patient gonna sue me, right? Simple thing.
Right.
So then that's why I always consider as it's like a patient's doctor is a relationship. Like they both has to like each other, right? So whenever patient come, and that's where the clinician come, I always have therapists to learn how to communicate with the patient. not just kind of, and that's where the listening part come. I have a student,
Mhm.
first day they come, I say, you're not treating patient. All you're going to do, just talk to patient. Learn the art, learn how to listen to the people and their pain. And so many times, Vicky, I'm telling you, during my evaluation, whatever they tell me, on the fourth visit, it's a whole different scenario. They only tell me what I asked them. But the minute I start talking to them, now they open up and tell me all these little life situation they are in, or the work habits they're doing it, or whatever the family is troubling or family situation. But that's so important because they're telling me right away, like, oh, this is the where it's a problem, not the here
Mm,
is a problem, not what they're telling me. They didn't tell me that they lift like a heavy boxes at work, but they didn't tell me that also there were 10 kids at home. They're not still sleeping at night. So there's so many factors involved
right.
in type therapy. And that's where the communication, and that's where I go again, go back to the original topic is like patients and the doctor has to be relationship as like also again on creating online community. That's the whole idea about it, that they get the education and they get the help what they needed by trusting the clinicians.
Hmm. Yeah.
So that's what it is.
So you do your in person, you go to people's houses. Do you do online as well?
I do not. Online is all Theravio. What I do is like I have people in my group. If they ask me question, I answer the questions, or I kind of put out more information. Now that the hand kit is launched and I'm out, I just changed my group recently. I'm like before it was only about the hand therapy, and now I'm like, okay, let me go back and I think I don't want people to feel like that I'm only doing a 10 and they cannot ask me other questions. So I'm open up like a whole joint thing to ask me any questions you have. I'm here to help and here to answer. And that's my online thing. Again, nothing to get out of it. It's just the pure helping people to goal my 100 million people.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. So I've got my thinking caps on this one. So I'll be asking you
Uh,
some questions about that stuff
Please
in a little bit.
go ahead. Go ahead. That's why I'm here.
So, um, are you married?
Yes, I'm married with two young daughter. You're not listening in the background. They're screaming in other
I
room.
can't hear it. So you must have
Thank God.
your microphone, your earpieces are
Yes.
filtering that noise.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Thank God. Okay. I was like, you would already know that I have two kids, but good.
Well, it's not the same thing, but my sister, when she's listening, we're talking on the phone, she has her earbuds in, and when her dogs bark, it silences everything so that you don't hear the dogs barking. So that also
Wow.
means if she's right in the middle of talking, I miss part of the conversation. So they're amazing for filtering things, I will say.
Again, technology, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So how long have you been married?
I've been married almost, thank God. I hope my wife don't listen because I
I
would think about
You
that.
might want to be
12 years. Yes.
12?
12,
Okay.
yeah,
All right.
2012, 12 years. Yeah. This
Okay.
year's will be 12 years. Yeah.
Nice, nice. So where did you meet?
Online.
Did you really?
I mean, to be honest, I tell a story and people don't believe me. I never met my wife before marriage.
Wow.
And there's a joke I say that because in Indian, it's all about arrange like in my at that time, arranged marriage and all this stuff. So I went to India. I My dad has like 10 girls biodata, like they call it like a resume biodata about girls. I'm like, okay, let's meet these five girls. And they arranged a meeting in her family and my family, and I have to decide immediately. And I'm like, and I'm out of the India for almost like 20 years more, right? So I'm Indian, but I'm more like a westernized Indian, right? So
Right.
I have like both values. I still am a religious guy in terms of thinking, but also I need my freedom also. So when I went there, it's like, you have 5 minutes to decide you want to marry or not. I'm like, how am I supposed to do that? And it's impossible. Like you go meet 5 minutes and like, oh, how you like it, girl? I said, I like everybody. But like, no, can you marry her? I'm like, how am I supposed to know that? Because, Vicky, you meet somebody first time, they're
Yeah,
at the best behavior.
that's right.
You need to know after what happens after that
Yeah.
meeting over.
I think you should go through all 1 year of seasons of having to deal with everybody's parents and family and everything before you make a decision.
Yeah. So what happened is actually and I was like, you know what, Dad, I'm not doing anymore. So I stayed there for like a month or so, and I had to come back. My flight was back, and a day before my flight was for US, her family contacted me and said, "Oh, you want to talk to?" And I was not interested because all this drama were going on, and Actually, her dad passed away like a week ago at that time.
Oh,
So
wow.
she was not interested in talking to me. So we're like, okay, you know what? Let's just to make our family happy. We just like legit 2 minutes. We were on the online, say, hey, hi, blah, blah, blah. It's like I'm not in, I cannot talk right now because I'm very emotional. I say, I understand. Whenever you're ready, just let me know. I came back USA, we're living friends together. At that time, I was working as a physical therapist already. And like after a month and a half, she called me from nowhere. And it's like, oh, you remember me? And I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, let's talk. And we started talking. We talked 5 days, I believe so.
Hmm.
And then again, our family pressurizing. What you want to do? What you want to do? What you want to do? So I asked her, I said, what do you think? Are you feeling comfortable with me? And she's like, yeah. And she asked me the same question. I said, I mean, yeah, why not? And there you go. Next day I woke up, my dad said, congratulations, you're engaged. They did the whole they did the whole process without me. So I always said, I always we have a joke in the family. I said I was never engaged. Only my wife was engaged. I got straight to marry. I was married right away.
Oh, that's hysterical. I love that. I love that. And so you've been married for 12 years. You got two kids. You must have decided that this is going to work.
After marriage and once you have first kid, you don't have time to think about that. No, like, she's working, I'm working, we have two kids, a lot of business and everything. Life is beautiful. I can't complain. And
Yeah.
and we are supportive. What else we need? We need like a good partner who supports you,
Yeah.
and we need a good kids who listen to you. But it doesn't happen at this point, but hopefully soon. But yeah, that's what you need in life, right?
Yeah. So how old are your children?
My oldest one is a 7-year old and youngest one is 5.
Boys, girls?
Two girls.
Two girls?
Yeah.
Oh, you're way
Lucky.
outnumbered, aren't you?
All the time. I have my in-laws with me here. Her daughter, she's my niece, so I consider her my first daughter. And then I have my mother-in-law also here. So mostly in the house, we have like 6 ladies, and I'm the only guy. So so that's why I learned how to shut my mouth.
You might want to make sure she doesn't hear this, right?
I hope she has her earpiece on, so she cannot listen to me.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Well,
Yeah.
I'm so intrigued with that because I've been married twice. Both of them I dated for quite a while, got married, and then it didn't
Yeah.
work out. So, I'm always intrigued with these relationships that you haven't really met or dated and done all of that stuff. It's just fascinating to me that you can get into that place of, does it something that love comes later, or
Yeah.
do you start feeling that in the beginning? I have no
It
clue.
So it again goes by the personality, right, Vicky? My
Right.
personality is I believe in very simple life, right? I told my wife, like, I was very honest up front what I could do. And to be honest, we got married, I had a $0 in my bank at that time. And I didn't have money to even book her flight ticket. I did not tell anybody, just her. I said, I don't have, and I came here first. I work again, did the job and everything, and then I had enough money to book her flight ticket, and then I rented an apartment, and that's how I started. It was like 12 years ago, and that's why there's a trust going on between us, right?
Hmm.
The life started, but then because my life is very simple, I told her up front. I said, I'm not the guy who's gonna hold your hand and take you to the park or walk in the park, but I'm the guy who will never make you cry or will never let you sleep hungry. That's one thing for sure. And that's the only thing I told her when I got married. I said, if you're looking for a romantic guy who holds your hand and walk in the park, I'm not the wrong guy. I don't have time for that.
You're not a romantic
Yeah.
guy? What the hell?
I posted 2 years ago when I went to a conference. I had a couple of friends and we went to conference and everybody talked about, like, they're taking their wife for a date and all this. Like, I'm like, I never did that because we go for dinner, but we go to eat, not like a date. I'm like, for me, it's so like unusual because we never had luxury. I never had money to do all those stuff, right? In the
Hmm.
earlier age, and then I got married right away, so I didn't have time for that. So I actually took my wife to one of the fancy restaurants in New York, and I posted on Facebook, like, "Who says I don't take my wife out?" So this is a proof. I take
Yeah.
her, and that's the last time I took her.
Oh, bless her.
No, no, we. I'm just kidding. No, no, we go
Yeah.
out. We time to time, and it. But yeah, the relationship wise, I have few simple rule in life. Like I don't give up, never. I have thing I teach my kids to. It's like you have to try 100 times because again, that story. When I came to year master doing my master, my English was terrible. I could not speak at all. I mean, even you see, my English is not the best, but still a little better than before. But whenever I started talking to my academic advisor, she'll always use this word, pardon me, pardon me, pardon me. And I had to repeat 3 to 4 times every time I talked to her. And it was making me tired every time I had to repeat myself, you know. And I used to feel discouraged. I used to feel like loser, that I cannot do anything. How am I gonna survive in this country? And all the stuff like questions mark. And then I'm like, you know what? After 6, 7 months, I understood. She's not going to understand me in first time. So I started repeating 3 to 4 times right away without
Yeah.
even she asking me. And I saw that she was understanding me better after that. And it took me 4 trials and 3 trials and 2 trials. And I'm like, look at this. Now I don't feel bad because I already accepted it that yes, I'm going to repeat couple of times. And that helped me to change my life motto, saying that, you know what? We give up too often. I'm not going to give up anything until 100 trials. So what's going to happen? So I expected to not to lose, but not to succeed as well. So anything I do, I just do it as my one of the trial. I'm like, okay, this is, then change a little bit, keep trying, keep trying. Same thing in relationship. I never give up on marriage. I'm like, okay, this is what marriage is. This is how it works. Everybody have fight. We have fight. You know, kids there. You know, it's not an easy life. But then doesn't matter. I want to give up. Let me try. I mean, if it works out, it works out good. And then another motto is that I always try to make everybody happy. But like, you know, I don't know if you know, my rule is 955, 95.5. That again, the learn from the patient that I can only make 90% of the people or patient happy with my service or with my like with my way approach, right? But the
Hmm.
5% of people, no matter what I do, they will be never happy. So
Right.
same thing in the marriage, you know, you try your best and ask yourself in the mirror and say, hey, did you try your best? If answer is yes and still not working, hey, bah, now you put that 5% bracket. Now, whatever happens to you, nothing gonna change my life. But so far, my answer is always no, that I did not try my best. So I'm still with her.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, I think if I were to suddenly be transported to India or someplace else where I had to learn the language and I had to communicate, I just cannot even imagine being in a place where you don't even speak the language and suddenly you have to get acclimated to it. So, I mean, amazing that
Thank
people
you.
like you can do that because I see people all the time that English is not their first language. And oh my gosh, you can understand them exceptionally well. And then it's like they were, picked up and dropped into the area and just had to learn. And so it's amazing. I can understand you very well. You don't have to repeat every now and then. A little bit gets missed, but that's just
Okay.
because I can't listen fast enough.
Or maybe you're kind, but I think sometimes I talk too fast. That's also could be the reason.
No worries, no worries.
Yeah,
Well, I am in awe of all the stuff that you do, the stuff with you and your wife. I mean, this is fascinating stuff to me. And
thanks.
so your kids, what are their names?
My older one name is Tashvi, 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 and my younger name is Sia, Siya, Sia.
Okay, okay.
Mhm.
So what do they like to do?
So we're still learning.
Hmm.
Okay, my younger one like to beat my older one, so she beat up her. So that was fighting. But
Yeah.
my looks like at this point, my older one is more interested in singing. She writes her own song already, so I'm
Oh,
kind of
wow.
encouraging her. I posted a video on my personal page also. She wrote her song and started singing also, and I kind of okay, I'm encouraging her, and we're looking for like some musician who can teach them, a singer who can teach the vocal training and all the stuff.
Hmm.
But she does the taekwondo. That's like,
Okay.
so she loves that. She doesn't like chess because she's learning also chess. She hates it. But our thing is we don't want kids to be too free. So we have a back-to-back classes going on. My
Okay.
younger one, so far, she's interested in chess because she loves the mind game. So she's
Mm-hmm.
kind of learning that. We didn't try a lot of things with her yet because she's 5, and so chess is the first thing we put her in the taekwondo. And so far, she doesn't like it because she has to listen to the instructor, and she
Yeah.
doesn't like that. So yeah,
Yeah, I remember
that's
being
it.
5. It was a long time ago,
Yeah.
but I remember, and I didn't want to listen at all.
Wow, you remember? I don't remember my
You
5-year-old.
don't?
There
I
are
do.
few
I do.
few flashes here and there.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your story
Of
and
course.
about your family. Because for anybody that's listening or watching, to me, it's so important to get the full connection. You know, you do amazing stuff, but when people can actually connect with your story and your life and your family, and really then they feel more a part of everything, and then they will know, like, and trust you so much better.
I hope so, and that's the plan. That's the plan
Yes.
to reach to as many people as possible. And like said, my uncle helped me out when I needed it, and I want to be the guy for people, however I can help them, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Beautiful, beautiful. Well, before we go, because we're getting
Yeah.
close to time,
Okay.
is there anything that when before we got on here that you thought, oh, I want to make sure I say this or I talk about this, and maybe I haven't asked you about something. Is there anything that comes up for you that you wanted to make sure you
I mean,
touched on?
not, I didn't think about anything. Because I didn't know this, what kind of questions you're gonna ask. I was thinking about what kind of questions you'll ask. So my mind was going towards that direction rather than I want to say information. So my aim for this interview was to answer your question with my full honesty and also with proper English.
Well,
I'm
then
just
you have
kidding.
accomplished your task.
Yeah,
So,
no, mostly yes. I'm thinking about, and I don't think so I can come out anything except what we discussed already.
okay, beautiful. Because like I told you before we got on here, I don't come in with actual questions or anything to ask, and I want to really most of the time I want to know as little as possible so that I can just get to know you right here along with everybody else.
Perfect. That's good. Let's make it more authentic. And that's how we want to live life, to be authentic and real, right?
Yes, yes, beautiful. So thank you again for being here on the podcast. And for everybody that's watching and listening, in the actual description, I will have the links to everything that he has provided. Did you put the link to the book in that list?
Yeah, but if I don't know if it is a website because the website is ready now. And if you go website, just put your email and you'll get right away in your email, like a digital copy. But if you actually need the physical copy, it's available on Amazon as well. Again, I make $0, whatever price there. That's Amazon is charging because they have to print it and also
Mm-hmm.
provide those services and everything, shipping and everything. So I do not make money, but I had to kind of charge it because it's Amazon charging. So but that's for
Yeah.
the hard copy, you know. But digital copy, if they want it, just go to my website, submit your email address, and you get in the second.
Okay, beautiful. Well, just real quick before we go. So the book is all about what to do as far as getting a physical therapist,
No
or
book.
what is the
So,
book? We didn't even say anything about this. What is
oh,
the
so
book?
see, we forgot about
Yeah, we
the,
did.
the title of the book says everything. It says how to cure your hand or wrist pain in 30 days.
Okay.
So it has starting point explanation like a basic. I can't put everything in one book, so I little bit explanation, but I made this book in kind of a general population language, like my what I'm thinking that the people do not understand a lot of medical terminology. Like
Right.
a lot of books you read is about for us to read about the hand, so I understand, but when it comes to the patient they don't understand the language, and half of the thing goes about the head and have no
Right.
idea what they're reading. So I try to provide as much as information needed with that limited medical terminology himself. And it starts with the basic conditions, what else needs to be done, how to set up your environment. There are a lot of chapters there, and it's a weekly guide, so it with the pictures, so you have
Okay.
every picture, what exercise with the instruction exactly. Week 1, this is the 10 exercise you want to do. and week 2, this is another 10 exercise 2, or this resistance you want to use, and all those, like taking them step by step from step.
Okay, so I got a question for you, thinking about the book there. So what about somebody that may have had surgery
Mhm.
on their wrist or their hand? Did they have to do something different, or is it generally good for everybody?
So good question. And for the surgery, you want to make sure you are first cleared by your doctor, because
Mm-hmm.
if the stitches are healed, and also use it as like a support to your therapy, ongoing therapy, right?
Okay.
Rather than
Mm-hmm.
just doing by itself. And that's the reason I have a community. You can ask me questions. If any questions should I start, or ask me questions. Okay, this book says this exercises. Can I do that exercise or not? And I'll be able to answer that questions, based on understanding the patient's conditions, how long it's been surgery, what is the current level, and all those stuff that can help me to kind of help me to understand better. But yes, it can be used, but as
Mm-hmm.
long as it's clear by the doctor,
Okay.
especially surgeon, that they are allowed to do therapy. And again, it starts with the very basic structure. So even you have a surgery, and once you clear by your doctor, you can do it, and like it can customizable. So it's not like you have to do this exercise for 100 times. I put it down like 3 to 7 times. So you start with the 3 times, next day you do 4, next day 5, but your goal is to reach to 7 by end of the week, something like that.
Okay. Okay. So the other thing, there was another question that popped in my mind. So give me a
Mm,
second. I can't remember what
okay.
it was. Um, oh, can you just tell them what isn't it a Facebook page, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So tell them the Facebook page. How do they connect with that? So anybody that maybe wants to go right now, as soon as they hear this, to find it, and they don't want to look at the show notes and everything. So is there an easy way for them to find you on Facebook?
Yeah, easily. So you can directly connect me, Alpesh Patel. But the only thing is that 1,000. But go on my page, Theravio, which is my brand. Oh yeah, I'm wearing the shirt, Theravio, and it's a page like
Theravio.
CIO, right?
Yeah.
Theravio, right? Thank you for spelling it out. But yeah, go to their business page, because it's easy to find, because there are millions Alpesh Patel, and you get lost to find me. But if you find Theravio, go there, and there is also a Facebook group along with that, and you can join the group. And if not, we'll put a link on with your description. If I don't know if I share it with you, if not, I'll
I
send it.
can look when we get
Okay,
finished with here to make
right.
sure. Yeah.
And they can
Yeah.
they can join the group right away, and easily. And like I said, go to Theravio, ask the question right away. There is a messenger, connect me right away, no problem.
Beautiful. All right. So you heard it here. It's really easy to connect. And so make sure that you do, and because you're going to be grateful in the end. And so, and so before we go, I want to leave you with my favorite quote that I always do at the end of every show. And I still don't remember who did the quote. So I'm just being honest. The best way to predict the future is created. And it seems like that is always so perfect for every guest that we have on here. Because if you want a pain-free future, you can create that too, right?
I love it. I love it.
All right. So thank you, everybody, for being here. And thank you, Alpesh, for being here as well. And I will see you next time. Mwah.
Thank you, Vicky. Appreciate it.